Now, we expect a big day with the witnesses. David Halls, the assistant director, is going to be a witness called by the prosecution. He has been charged, cooperated, got some probation. Before we hear from him live, let's listen back to some more of what that line producer shared with the jury about some issues that were brought to light. We know that Hannah Gutierrez was juggling some duties. She was both a prop master and an armorer on this movie set.
Did you suggest to Ms. Gutierrez a way of remedying the problem of leaving firearms unattended?
Yes.
What did you suggest?
Some type of logging system, check in, check out.
And did she respond to you?
She did respond via email.
And did she agree to a check-in, check-out log system?
No.
Why not, if she told you?
She said that it was too complicated to do in between scenes. And they had a system that they were working with, and I'm trying to recollect, that was end of day, I believe.
Okay. Did you then have an in-person meeting with Ms. Gutierrez?
Yes.
And who was present at that meeting?
Myself, Brian Norvell, who was the production designer, Hannah, and I believe Roe was there for part of it, the UPM, and then she stepped away to handle something else.
And why would Mr. Norvell be there?
Because as production designer, he's over everything that is the look of the film, and that includes armor.
And did Ms. Gutierrez express concerns about being torn between armorer duties and prop assistant duties?
Can you rephrase?
At any point in time, did Ms. Gutierrez indicate to you that she did not have enough time to focus on her armorer duties because she was busy doing props?
No. The reverse would be true. So she focused more on her armorer duties and less on her props duties.
And did that create an issue for you? Let me ask you, did you ask Ms. Gutierrez to spend less time on armorer duties and more time supporting props?
On props days, yes.
And when you say props days, what do you mean?
Meaning where she was not acting as armor. They were not the armor days that we just referenced.
And in the meeting that you had with Ms. Gutierrez, did you offer her additional support so that she could accomplish her tasks for both jobs?
Yes.
What additional support did you offer?
It was a collaboration of offers between production and the art department.
So my question is, what support was being offered to her?
Admin support, organizational, all the paperwork, to try to take as much off of her plate as possible so that she could really focus on the set duties.
After the meeting where you offered support, did Ms. Gutierrez again tell you that she was spread too thin?
No, we seem to have a plan to move forward.
Did Ms. Gutierrez ever express concerns to you that Mr. Baldwin wasn't paying attention during his firearm training that she conducted with him?
Not that I recall.
We're so pleased to have an expert guest in the studio to give analysis on this morning. Propmaster and armorer Dutch Merrick is with us. Dutch, would it be difficult for someone to be both a prop master and an armorer on a film set like Hannah Gutierrez was here?
Well, you know, prop master, the term master implies that they can handle the entire department. There's nothing under a prop master's purview that they shouldn't be able to manage. So when we have a few firearms to work on, a prop master should be able to handle that. When you get into more complicated firearms or more quantity of firearms, a bunch of actors, you certainly need an armorer. Can I make a note about what we just heard?
Please.
So line producer Gabrielle Pickle, who I don't know what her experience level is, but she seems amateurish, and they've tried to cut every corner. She said that they offered her administrative help to Hannah Gutierrez-Reed. Now, they've hired a novice, virtually brand new person. Rather than hiring the amount of people they needed, she's going to offer her administrative help to help her with her paperwork, and somehow she's going to be able to manage the guns any more efficiently. They knew there was a problem. Watching that just really upsets me. The line producer seems completely naive or in denial that they needed more staff, and the UPM was brand new. It was like her third or fourth show. So you get a brand new UPM, relatively new producer, brand new armor, brand new prop master, brand new assistant. You can't have that many new people in a department. When you, for example, you have a brand new director on a show, you get a really strong director of photography, and you get strong people around them to build their skills.
Sure.
You don't work with all brand new people. Sorry.
It's a recipe for disaster. No,
Absolutely.
I appreciate this insight, Dutch. This is important stuff, and what you're saying will come into play later on, I am sure, with Alec Baldwin's trial, with him being the film's producer, not just the starring actor. I want to pick your brain about the fatal incident itself. And we've heard testimony about how Hannah Gutierrez says that she had checked the firearm outside of the church set and had handed it off to the assistant director, David Halls, who then handed the gun to Alec Baldwin. And I remember way back when this incident happened, Dutch, I remember you telling me that should never happen.
Never.
Tell us why, please.
So there's what I would consider a sacred relationship between an armorer and an actor. The actor ultimately puts all of their trust in us, as they do in a safety coordinator, a stunt coordinator, someone preparing food for them to eat. They put a lot of trust in us. So I make eye contact with them. I make certain they know how to handle the gun safely. I make sure that they know that I've prepared it in a way that is exactly right for the scene. Nobody breaks that chain. Nobody breaks that chain. Dave Halls, being sort of a rush ball buster of an AD, you know, he was closing in on retirement, and here's a naive young prop master. Give me the gun, give me the gun, give me the thing, we gotta go. And I've worked with those guys occasionally that they just wanna do this. And Dave Halls has inserted himself in that process. He took the gun, he was a stand-in, he didn't observe it being loaded, he didn't check the cartridges. No way, shape, or form could he have told that the cartridges in there were dummies without handling them and rattling them. It's just not possible. They were in the gun. Then he hands them to the actor, tells him it's cold, and it's good to go. So the actor had put trust in the professionals around him, but Dave Halls, and why is Dave Halls not on trial? I get it, he pled, and he's got a $500 fine. He's one of the key players in this drama, and I can't tell you how it's bad.
Sure, sure. Well, and you have really expertise, knowledge of how a film set should be run. You know, and this is really important that jurors understand it too. You know, both sides have an obligation to make sure that these jurors who have never worked on a film set understand that that was a huge break in protocol, even with the COVID-19 restrictions, because that came out that, oh, Hannah Gutierrez couldn't be near the gun, only one person could have been there. Dutch, she should have been there, shouldn't she have been?
The armor stays with the guns. Period. I work on a show, SEAL Team. A lot of times we'll have 5, 6, 7 armorers because we'll have separate units, and we'll have a few guys up on a mountaintop with AK-47s. We have our main unit over here with their guns and someone with their guns. An armor stays with every unit, and an armor stays with the cart. The cart doesn't get left alone. The guns never get left alone. They never leave our eyesight.
Right. I have so many more questions for you. You wrote a book on the safety. We're going to talk about that next, and you have a prop here with you of how you store the rounds on the movie set, so we're going to have that next. Let's hit a break now. No movement yet in the courtroom, but the defendant is there. Hannah Gutierrez getting ready with her lawyers for day number 6 of her trial. Thank you for watching it here on Court TV Live. Today. Welcome back to Court TV Live. I'm Julie Grant. So we're on a verdict watch right now in the case against defendant Michelle Troconis. This is in the case involving the death of Jennifer Dulos. We've surpassed the 6-hour mark. We'll let you know if there's a verdict or a question. Right now, I want to show you a live look inside of the courtroom, where Hannah Gutierrez Reed is set to enter into day 6 of her involuntary manslaughter trial in New Mexico. She's conferring with her counsel. She's got some sharp attorneys. I will say this, they are leaving no stone unturned. They're pointing the finger at the supplier of the ammunition she worked with, Seth Kenney. They're pointing the finger at the film's producer and starring actor Alec Baldwin for being the one who pointed that deadly weapon at the film cinematographer. So they are really putting on a rigorous defense for this young armorer. And we're so pleased to have on the set someone who has many years, almost 30 years of experience working on movie sets. He's an expert in firearms. He's worked as an armorer and a prop master, Dutch Merrick. And Dutch, you wrote a book on set safety largely after so many people were calling you for your expertise when this fatal shooting happened. We were one of the networks calling on you. You did several live discussions with us about it. And then you put all of your thoughts into this book, and now you're teaching classes with it. Talk to us a little bit about that, please.
Well, after the Rust tragedy, I talked to a lot of my fellow armorers and prop masters, and we're trying to dissect, first of all, what happened, and secondly, how best to respond, and where's the weak link. And we're all pretty much self-trained in the industry. There's not really a mentorship program or apprenticeship program, so we said we need to come up with some training. And so I put together an 8-hour hands-on course, which was, the way we've done it is unprecedented. And having taught that for about 2 years now, I took that material, because I've had a lot of people saying, I want to take the class, but I can't get to Los Angeles, or you're not coming to my city. So I said, well, I better put a guidebook together. So it's not a full novel or, a book per se. Sure. It's a guidebook, which, about 26 pages, hits the keynotes about what we do and the best practices, and some footnotes in there that are definitely reflecting what we've learned from the Rust trial and what to do and what not to do.
That's great.
Even a portion about what first ADs are not supposed to do.
Yes. I took a look at it, and I remember your words when you came on the set, or came on the show, excuse me, the first time, and you said it, an AD on the set is like the conductor of an orchestra.
That's right.
Isn't he?
That's right.
Yeah.
Well, and I don't know if I should just read from the book or from memory.
Please, show us the book. Show us the book. This is brilliant stuff.
Prop gun, film safety. Prop gun set safety for film and television. And in here on page 19, I have a section about the first assistant director. And in there I write, the first assistant director, or the stage manager, is much like the conductor for an orchestra, who wields a baton and a music score to guide each musician during the performance. They cue the strings, the percussion, or the wind instruments, yet they never play any of the instruments themselves. An AD wields a walkie-talkie and a call sheet and acts in much the same manner, keeping the film on schedule and making sure cast hit their marks. They keep the trains running on time, so to speak,
right,
though they are never to set a light, adjust an actor's makeup, or touch a prop themselves.
There you go. And so, a big violation of that protocol happened here. And you've got something else with you besides the book. I want you to show everyone, please, how you store your ammunition.
People have spoken about the fanny pack that Hannah Gutierrez Reed, where she was keeping loose ammo, which probably not a good idea. She's talked about having ammunition in her pockets. If I have to put something in my pocket, I'm not taking it out until I get home or at the end of the day. It's pretty common for a lot of the armors to use a set pouch, what we call a dump pouch. This one hides away on my belt, and then it pops open into a big container. I can put boxes of ammo in here. I can put loaded magazines for M16s or something, or loose rounds like for a shotgun. But it's pretty common for us to wear that on our person. So for her to have a fanny pack, it feels like it's in line with her prop cart and what do you call it, little temporary cart she was using before that are sort of improvised on the day. There's no hard, fast set of rules to say these are the absolute procedures for carrying ammunition. So I think she was just doing the low budget, improvised
The Mary
version.
Kay bag.
The Mary Kay bag.
So it's really not a problem as long as it was something that is that what you're saying?
And the Mary Kay might be in line with her tendency to try to be cutesy on the set, I guess.
Maybe. Yeah. Oh boy, I have so many more questions for you. Dutch Merrick, thank you so much for all of that. We're gonna hit a break. When we come back, we're gonna go in live and see what day 6 in the Baldwin movie set shooting case brings us. Welcome back to Court TV Live. I'm Julie Grant. We are watching and waiting for things to start up in New Mexico for the Baldwin movie set shooting case. Right now, our cameras fixated on the seal in the great state of New Mexico in the courtroom as the judge has just left the bench. She was conferring with the attorneys. We're waiting for the jury to be brought in. As soon as they are, we're going to go in there live. In the meantime, I want to show you more of the testimony that you haven't seen yet. Yesterday, when we were in some other live trials, the movie's line producer took the stand. Let's hear a little more from her now.
So on October 17th of 2021, did you tell Ms. Gutierrez that there would be no more training days?
Yes.
Do you recall what Ms. Gutierrez's response was to you when you said no more training days?
Right on.
Thank you. Did reviewing these messages refresh your memory as to whether or not you told Ms. Gutierrez that she would have 10 total armorer days?
Yes, it is confirmed in that text chain that we both knew that there were 10 armor days.
Not 8.
Not 8, 10.
Now, we understand that you, Rust Productions hired Ms. Gutierrez to be armorer and also prop assistant, correct?
Correct.
And did Ms. Gutierrez agree to take on both roles?
Yes.
Even though production stopped on October 21st, had this incident not occurred, production was going to continue, correct?
Yes.
For a couple more weeks, is that right?
Yes.
And was it within the discretion of Rust Productions to continue to increase armorer days if necessary throughout the course of the filming?
Yes.
So just because she was given 10 by October 21st, that doesn't mean that she was going to be limited to 10 for the duration of the filming.
Correct.
And you indicated on October 21st that there was a delay in filming because of replacing the camera crew, correct?
Correct.
And that filming was delayed for hours, right?
Yes.
And during those hours where filming was not occurring, was Ms. Gutierrez free to go inspect her dummy rounds and do any other work she needed to do?
Yes.
In terms of the accidental discharges, did Ms. Gutierrez bring them to your attention?
No.
Do you know whether Ms. Gutierrez brought the accidental discharges to the attention of anyone in production?
I do not have knowledge of that.
Could Ms. Gutierrez have reported the accidental discharges to production?
Without me hearing about it?
No, just could she report it to anyone in production?
Yes.
Anyone on set could, right?
Mm-hmm.
And Mr. Looper did,
Yes.
correct?
Mm-hmm.
You were asked some questions about the COVID protocol on set. Did the COVID protocol require Ms. Gutierrez to leave the firearm in the church on October 21st and leave the church?
Your Honor, I don't object to speculation, lack of knowledge, foundation.
If
I
you
have
know.
no knowledge. I can't answer that. I don't know.
Well, did you have knowledge of the COVID protocol for the set?
I had knowledge of the one-page document that we had of the basics. As far as what happened on set, that was really not my job.
Okay. The one-page document that you're talking about, did it indicate that the armor needed to be separated from the firearms?
It had no such specifics.
All right, let's talk some more about this. Let's talk about those 3 accidental discharges on that movie set. 6 people quitting the day before that fatal shooting incident. Still with me, an expert in the field, Propmaster and armorer, Dutch Merrick. Dutch, your thoughts when you heard 3 accidental discharges on the set before the fatal incident?
Well, having heard the testimony the other day, it sounds like Sarah Zachary, the Propmaster, was one of the accidental discharges herself. She's the head of the department. She's the last person you would expect to have an accidental discharge. Perhaps a background extra or someone that's not qualified with a firearm, but it sounds like she had a slip up. And then the second was, I believe, with a stunt double for Alec Baldwin in the same day. It happened, I think, just minutes later. So it's to me, it's just bizarre to wrap my head around. 2 accidental discharges, one on the same show, but also on the same day in the same few minutes. And I understand Lane Looper, the camera assistant, had raised the flag, raised the warning. Hey, I'm concerned about safety, and I think rightly so. Them walking off, I think I would have. I encourage them. I support them for having walked off. They sent an email late the night before, and that morning they came in to pack up their gear. And it just seems that the signs that were there was an unsafe set overall.
Now you can understand why. Dutch, I want to go back to someone, you had mentioned his name before I ever heard it. Now that this trial has begun, I'm hearing his name a lot. Seth Kenney, the guy who was the supplier of the ammunition, not charged, said to have cooperated with officials. He's the one that Sarah Zachary, you pointed out, called immediately before law enforcement was even on the scene, and she started taking things from the set, disposing of things, according to police. Seth Kenney, I'm curious, you've worked in Hollywood a long, long time, Dutch. Have you ever heard of this guy in Hollywood? Is he somebody well known there?
Well, I had never met Seth Kenney, but I had heard his name. He used to run the gun room at one of the major prop houses in Los Angeles, and apparently there was some bad blood there because there were some missing items, and so he left the state and he hadn't come back to Hollywood. I didn't know he was still doing guns, but my understanding he was not really welcome in the industry to do that anymore based on really, really bad behavior. There was charges filed against him in 2016, I believe, for theft by the prop house.
Wow.
That he had done against them. And the defense attorney had said, Hannah Gutierrez, the defense attorney, has said that, and I think rightly so, that it seems that Seth Kenney has been steering the investigation. He's been steering the detectives and the prosecutors, offering his services. A friend of mine said the other day, he says, isn't that kind of like OJ saying he's going to run out and try to look for the glove?
Sure.
You know, hey, you guys, look over there. Look over there. Let me show you right where to look and how this all works. The fact that they didn't look at his shop for 40 days is mind-blowing to me. And he was there with the opening of the prop truck to inventory the prop truck. He was right there with the investigators. So my understanding is he's been hand-holding this investigation. He hasn't been charged. Dave Halls and Seth Kenney, I can't believe that the prosecutors have just looked the other way. Right after the prosecutor filed charges against Baldwin, they were interviewed 10 minutes later. One of the major news networks said, well, what about where the ammunition came from, where the bullet came from? And the prosecutor said, well, that's a red herring. We're not investigating that. Well, without a bullet, there's no crime.
Exactly.
The one thing everyone in Hollywood wants to know is where that bullet came from.
Right, right. And that's the biggest overarching question. You hit the nail right on the head, Dutch Merrick. The biggest question over this trial is where did those live rounds come from? And we still don't have an answer to that. We do know that the jury is in the courtroom and the state has just called their first witness of the day. It's going to be an armorer, a fellow armorer is going to be the first witness up. So we're going to see all of that live in just a few moments. Dutch Merrick, it has been such a pleasure having you in the studio. This has been a real treat, you sharing your expertise with us. I know we're going to call on you more and more on this case and on others. Thank you for everything. And want to let everyone know that we've got a couple other cases we're monitoring right now. We're monitoring the Bishop case in Georgia, the guy who is the polygamist cult leader. He's accused of rape. He's gone back to the jail to continue watching his trial. So when that one picks back up, we're going to be watching it. In the San Diego, California area, the lover-stalker murder trial picks up at noon Eastern time. The death of a Catholic school teacher is what is the center of that case. And then, of course, we're on the verdict watch in Connecticut in the case over the death and disappearance of Connecticut mother of 5, Jennifer Dulos. Ted Rollins is up next here on Court TV Live. Don't go anywhere. We're right back after this.